on this discussion, I'm joined by the former Republican congressman and presidential candidate Joe Walsh, joining us down the line there in the US. Nice to see you, Joe. And with me here in the studio, also nice to see Republicans Overseas spokesperson Jennifer Ewing.
Hi.
Hi, thanks so much. Let's start with you, Joe. You were just listening to that conversation we're having, I hope, with the German historian about the comparisons that have been made between Donald Trump and Hitler. Do you think these comparisons are fair, given what he said in his speech?
Oh, sure they are. And that was a fascinating discussion. Look, Trump knew what he said. He knew what it meant. And he said it purposely because, and I know a lot of the country is really upset with what Donald Trump said, but the Republican Party base in America loves what Donald Trump said. And I used to be a part of that base. And I know that you can scare the Republican Party base with this issue of immigration. Donald Trump knows that if he says we got to keep brown and black and other people out, that really gets the Republican Party base all riled up and scares them. It works. And that's why he says it.
Well, Jennifer, joining us here in the studio, Republicans Overseas. What do you make of what Joe's saying there? Do you think that's a fair characterization of the Republican base?
No, I don't. I mean, I think this whole dog whistle thing where Trump would purposely go out and try to sound like Hitler is insane. I think what he was talking about was the border issue we have. And as a matter of fact, he's saying a lot of the same things that some of the Democratic mayors are saying when a lot of the illegal immigrants have been bussed into their cities. You can look at Chicago, you can look at New York. These Democratic mayors are actually saying similar things to what Trump is saying, is like, it is hurting our country, it is hurting our city, this unchecked immigration. As far as the blood comments, I mean, I think that was a lot more whether people are not checked for diseases before they come in, or perhaps he was talking about the fentanyl crisis we have coming in through the southern border. But no, I do not think it makes sense for Donald Trump to go out and try to sound like Hitler. And I think it's kind of a gross comparison to take this massive genocide and compare it to, use it for cheap, Democratic political hits.
Joe, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, respectfully, no cheap Democratic political hit. And I'm not a Democrat. Look, poisoning the blood of our country. Trump said that. You're right. A lot of mayors and governors and political officials have talked about the problem of our border and immigration and illegal immigration in this country. I'm an immigration hawk and have always been one, but I don't use, and they don't use, nobody else uses this language, this ugly, bigoted, Nazi-like language. Nobody else does. Only Trump, and he does it for a reason. Don't let him off the hook. I'm so sick and tired of people who say, oh, Donald doesn't mean what Donald says. Bull crap. He means what he says. Call him out on it. Condemn him.
Oh, well, bull crap is pretty strong language, Joe, for 7:30 p.m. here in the UK. We'll have to apologise to our audiences there. But in terms of the language, Jennifer, Joe's point there being, this is very strong language. It's hard to be misinterpreted. Blood, poisoned blood, all this stuff about immigration. It's hard not to make the links, which is why the links have been made. Is he not goading people specifically to do this because he wants to once again galvanise his base that he's being victimised, like he's been doing, with all the court cases?
Maybe I'm missing something. I do not see the link. I don't think it makes sense. I mean, his son-in-law is an Orthodox Jew. His daughter converted to Judaism. Trump's doing actually really well with the black population. He's doing really well with Latinos. I think he's talking about illegal immigration. And what's crazy is people are sitting here and going after him for pointing out the problem we have on the border, saying, oh, I don't like his bad language. Well, you know what? That's Trump. We've used to his bad language and his mean tweets and his, very colorful and irresponsible and, yes, bombastic and oftentimes hurtful and inappropriate and unpresidential. But that does not mean that he's not pointing out problems we have at the border. After those comments, and this might be what Joe is referring to, I know that they polled some Republicans in the Iowa caucus, and 42% said they're even more sure they want to vote for Trump after what they heard him say. And that that's not because they love, you know, Hitler and Mein Kampf. It's because the border is a real problem and no one's doing anything about it.
Once again, Joe, it's this, it does galvanise the base somewhat when Trump is looking like the victim of some kind of orchestrated sort of witch hunt, as he likes to call it. Speaking of which, while we've got you, can I just get your views on this ruling from the Supreme Court of Colorado last night? Do you think it's going to be an actual stumbling block for Trump?
No, I think it's a huge political gift for Donald Trump, because Donald Trump's superpower is he's a victim. He's a poor, persecuted victim. And here's another court. Here's somebody else. Here's the deep state trying to stop him from running. I don't know what the Supreme Court of America will ultimately do, but this is a huge political gift for Donald Trump.
Jennifer, do you agree with that?
I do, and Joe's right. Every time there's a new indictment or a new charge, Trump's numbers go up. They do. The interesting thing about Colorado is, first of all, they're saying, oh, it's based on insurrection. Let's not forget that even, you know, Jack Smith in New York, who threw everything, you know, including the kitchen sink at President Trump, never charged him with insurrection. So Trump has not been even charged with insurrection. So now Colorado is saying, oh, we're going to, you know, use this Article 14, Section 3. So I'm not a legal expert, but this is really getting into the weeds here. But it's not about Colorado. Joe Biden won Colorado by 13, 14 points. He'll probably take Colorado again if indeed he is the candidate. But what it is it sets a precedent for other states. Like, we've already had 3 states that have tried to do this: New Hampshire, Minnesota, Michigan. The judge in Michigan said, I'm not getting involved in this because it's political. It's not my place as a judiciary. So again, it's a slippery slope where the justice system is being weaponized against Trump. And he is a victim. I'm sorry, but even look, he's not. He's not my first choice for a presidential candidate. But
fair enough. I'm sure Joe would have some thoughts on that too. But unfortunately, Joe, it's always great to have you on the show, and you too, Jennifer. We've run out of time. We'll have to get you back on. There's going to be plenty more US politics news over the coming months. Thank you both.